If you're an HX Stomp user, I got some exciting news for you. I just updated my Hey Worship Leader HX Stomp preset bundle, and I'm going to tell you why in just a second. Hang on. Man, all through quarantine, I've just been in my bedroom. My bedroom has become my studio, and I just love getting out. And look at this wall. That's awesome. Hey Worship Leader, if you're new to the channel, thank you for stopping by. Welcome, I'm glad you're here. On this channel, I make videos to help you become the best worship leader that you can be. We talk about how to pastor your people and develop your teams. And we also talk about gear, which is why you're here today. All right, so today we're gonna be talking about stereo versus mono. Now, if you've been around the channel at all for any amount of time, you know that I'm an electric guitar player. But the things we talk about today can also be applied to any instrument that's capable of running stereo, such as keys. Man, that dog will not quit barking. But look at these train tracks, this is awesome. I've also recently updated my HX Stomp preset bundle over on the website. I've added a new amp based around a Marshall style amp, and I've also included every preset that I have to be both stereo and mono. So now you get 5 amps plus some extra fun stuff in there, all at no extra cost. It's on sale right now for $8 over in the store at heyworshipleader.com. Click the link in the description to go check it out. And for those of you who stick around to the end of the video, I'm gonna give you something else to make the deal a little sweeter.
Hello. Hello. Oh my goodness. Yes.
Now, before we jump into the whole mono versus stereo conversation, I wanted to address something that I've seen come up in a couple different forums and even in the comment section on my YouTube channels, and that is the question of worship leaders or guitar players selling their HX Stomp or Helix patches. The first question usually goes something like this: well, why are they selling their patches? Isn't this something that you can just do yourself? And the second question I've seen is, why do worship leaders on YouTube specifically sell their presets? Wouldn't it be easier if they could just share them for free to other guitar players who play for the church? And the question that was presented more specifically was, is playing music for God a business? Now, those are some really good questions, and I'm glad they're being asked. First, let me say, I don't know anyone else's motive. I don't know why anybody else would sell their HX Stomp presets, but I do know my response, and I thought I would share it with you guys. In my case, it's another way that I can support my family and this channel. It's another very small stream of income that helps me do what I love to do, which is make content to help other worship leaders. The cool thing about the HX Stomp is it's pretty much plug in, tweak, and play. You don't have to buy any other gear, you don't have to buy anything else to get a good sound, and you'll be up and running. You can get some really good sounds if you spend some time with it, but that's just it. You have to spend time with it. Some people are just short on time and rather spend a few bucks having something crafted that's ready-made so they can just get to what they're wanting to do, which is play great music. Others may have a sound that they're trying to emulate, while others are still learning how to dial in pedals, and so it's easier for them to purchase something that's already done so they can learn. I spent many hours developing my presets, and so the cost of the presets is just paying back the time that's put in, which is how most products are sold. So to be clear though, to answer the question, I would say playing music for God is not a business, but not everything is free. The church I work for pays me to pastor my people and to develop teams and to lead worship on the weekends. I am the main worship leader. Now, some may think of that as a business transaction, but I think of it more as support to do what God has gifted me to do. So I sell my presets for people who either want to plug in and play, presets that are designed for worship leaders to give them the tools that they would need to make the sounds that they're hearing in modern worship music. Or for those who are learning and want to see how other presets are made, they can download my presets, pick them apart, tweak them, and make their own sound. Or for those who want to sound exactly like the sound samples in my videos. Whatever the reason is, when you buy my presets, my hope is that they help you become a better worship leader by taking away some of the guesswork and crafting a sound so you can get to doing what you love to do, which is leading worship and playing great music. Now let me just say, for those of you who have never played through a stereo rig, wow is the only response. It takes your signal and just explodes it. What stereo does is it takes your already wonderful tone and adds depth and width and brings an overall girth to it. It makes it bigger, it expands it. You go from listening to something to feeling like you're swimming in it. It's all around you. And this is how we as humans were designed to take in sound. We have ears on opposite sides of our heads, so reflections of sounds are always hitting our eardrums at different speeds. Another way to think about it is having 2 eyes versus having 1 eye. If you cover 1 eye, you can only see two-dimensional objects, but as soon as you add the second eye that are coming from just a slightly different perspective, you can now see a 3D image. The same is true with listening in stereo. When you listen in mono, you're kind of getting a flat picture of it, but as soon as you hear it in stereo, it opens it up. And I'm telling you, listening to your guitar signal in stereo through a good set of studio monitors or headphones will make you never want to play mono again. But if you were listening to me at the beginning of this video, I said I just updated my Stomp presets to include both stereo and mono. Now, why would I do that? But I guess the better question is just because stereo sounds better, should you run stereo in every situation, specifically in a live context? I gotta get a car wash. This car's dirty. I'm just gonna do the cheapest one. Here we go. So let me just start off by saying I am not a sound engineer. I am not a sound tech. I'm not an expert in this. I'm only passing along what I've learned. Hold on, I gotta pull it in here. What I've learned and what other people have taught me. So if you hear me say something that you don't like or you don't agree with, let me know down in the comments so that we can all learn from each other. Check this out. But the answer to the question of should you run stereo in a live context is not necessarily. And here are some reasons why you might want to run mono. Number one is that your sound system that you're playing through is mono. Now at our church, we recently upgraded our sound system to a stereo sound system, but before that we were running mono. If you haven't seen those videos of the install of the sound system, you can check those out here. But knowing that our sound system was mono, all of our keys players and our guitar players summed everything to mono. Because if you try to play a stereo signal through a mono system, you're only gonna hear half of your tone and that won't work. The second reason you might want to run mono is to avoid phasing issues. If you have a stereo sound system, you will have to sum your stereo effects into mono. Units like the Stomp already do this automatically and it works great. We also run Sunday keys from Sunday Sounds, and it has a button built into the software that says mono on it in case you're running through a mono sound system. The problem can be is that some drastic stereo effects can still experience phasing issues. Phasing is just when identical or very similar audio waves cancel each other out, and that won't work either. So if you know you're running through a mono sound system, it's just safer to use mono effects so you don't have to worry about those phasing issues. Number three, the third reason you might want to run mono is to fit well in the mix. Running stereo sounds amazing when you're playing by yourself, when you're listening with your headphones or to the monitors. It sounds great. But that type of spread and width is not always necessary within the context of a band. Now hear me, I did say not always necessary. If it's done well, it can actually add to the overall experience. But you don't want to be swimming in your instrument when there are 5 other instruments in the band, because then it can become like a competition in the band rather than a cohesive unit. If you've never heard of this, just look up layering principle or fraction principle. Basically it's this, that if you are in a band of 5 people, then your instrument should take up 1/5 of the overall sound. Now this is just a principle, but it's a good one to think through when you're crafting your sound. Now one more reason you might want to run mono is to give everyone in the audience or the congregation a similar experience. The problem with running stereo width too wide, especially in large rooms, is that half the people will be hearing or missing out on half of your signal. There's a skate park right here. I never knew that. Skate park right here, closed. Corona, come on. People can't even skate. For guitar players, some run a wet-dry rig. They have a wet-dry signal, and what this is that one amp is responsible for just the dry tone and the other amp is reserved for the wet effects. Now there are benefits to running your rig this way, namely the clarity of your wet effects. But if you're running stereo, especially in a large room, and if you got a hard pan left and right, you can see how half the people will hear only your dry signal and the other half will only hear the wet effects, and that won't work either. Of course, running it that way, there would be a sweet spot in the room, but that's just it, it's a sweet spot, and only a few people would hear that. So this gets back to why I'm including mono versions of my patches in my preset bundle. So instead of forcing the stereo effects to be summed to mono, I went through all my presets and redialed them in with mono in mind, which, like we discussed, will allow you to sound good coming through a mono sound system if that's what you're playing through, and take away any phasing issues. But the stereo presets are still in there in case you are playing in stereo. I build my presets with stereo effects, and I also use use a little trick with the amps to let them sound stereo even when there's no wet effects on. However, these stereo presets are not extreme. There is enough separation to get a nice depth of field, but none of your audience or congregation is gonna miss out on half your tone. But if you don't believe me, you should go try them. They're on sale right now at heyworshipleader.com, like I said before. And since you made it this far in the video, I promised you I was gonna make it worth your while. To the first 25 people, if you use the code at checkout, HWL25, you get an extra 25% off. HWL, Hey Worship Leader, 25% off. First 25 people, I think you get it. You should hurry, go do it now. My preset bundle pack is only $8 to begin with, so this makes it $6. Practically risk-free. Well, it is risk-free. If you hate it, just let me know. I'll give you your money back. I don't care, I'm generous. But Jimmy, that sounds good, but what do I get? Well, what you get is the 5 amps. You get an AC15, AC30, Deluxe Reverb, Grammatical Bright, and the new, should I mention, I added it in for free, no extra cost, a Marshall amp. Are you still here? Why are you here? You should go buy the preset. You should be going to heyworshipleader.com, go to the store, click on the preset bundle, type in HWL25 at checkout, and save yourself $2 whole. But you better hurry because the price is going back up to $8 after 25 people. So go do it. All right, y'all, this has been fun. It was fun to get outside. It's great weather. Glad to not be stuck in my little studio, bedroom. It's just a corner. Thank you so much for being a subscriber here. I really hope this channel and the content is beneficial for you. If you could do me a favor, please like the video, share it with someone that you think it could benefit, comment below something you liked or you've learned. And if you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button below and click the bell next to it so you can customize your notification settings so you don't miss out on any new content. Other than that, I think I'm done. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.